Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Buckeye Weekly Podcast. I'm Tony Gerdeman, here at times with Juck Milletti. Juck, how's it going?
Fantastic, Tone. Fantastic day. Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there.
Yeah, we're here with a breaking news episode of the Buckeye Weekly Podcast. The first 2029 commitment of the class, Austin Miller, wide receiver out of California. Juck, it's too early for the rankings. They'll be coming out soon. But when the rankings do come out, he's going to be high atop the list.
Tony, he might be 1-1. He might be, look, if Jet Harrison's 1-1, he might be 1-1. I mean, he is 6'5", legitimately. He is over 200 pounds. When you look at Manshun Sales right now, I think he, at 15 years old, 15, is a little bit more muscular right now. I saw him run a 4.5. His stats, which I'm sure we'll get into, the success that he's had already on the football field as a freshman is kind of absurd, like really absurd.
The last 6'5" freshman wide receiver that Ohio State got a commitment from was probably Chris Henry, who I think was he heading into his sophomore year at the time of this
same
commitment?
exact time as this right now.
Yeah.
And it worked,
Yeah,
Tony.
and
It helped.
well, we'll see. We'll see. No, but yeah, and when you watch Austin Miller's freshman highlights on Huddle, you'll see like he's legitimately tall. And when you're this tall as a freshman, as a freshman in high school, we'll see what it becomes. I know when Chris Henry was that tall, people were like, well, how tall is he going to get? And he didn't get much taller. But with Miller, I watched the highlights, and it kind of reminded me a little bit of Michael Jenkins, the former Ohio State wide receiver, 6'5" wide receiver from, now 25 years ago. But then you also see him running jet sweeps, and he's a wildcat quarterback, and just is used in a lot of ways. And like you said, just ran a 4.5, I think, this spring and this summer. Well, can't be the summer because today's the first day of the summer, and we saw it
Right.
previously. But this is now, as you said, he might be 1-1, and this is a very, very, very good and positive note for Cortez Hankton. And I can't say it's continuing the trend because we'll see what happens with Jet Harrison. But very, very good sign, because it's not like this is some Ohio kid that is in the backyard. This isn't Pickerington Central or something like this. This is Bellflower, California, and he wants to be a Buckeye.
He absolutely does. I got a little insight on this one as I talked to him when he was first interested in Ohio State. Actually started following me, which sometimes recruits do who are interested in Ohio State will follow guys they know cover recruiting. And I had never heard of him, and I saw his frame, and I was like, look at this kid. In 29, I reached out to him, and started talking to him. And he was interested in Ohio State, like top of his board, and had talked to a couple of the recruiting guys, hadn't talked to Hankton, but wanted to get on campus really bad. That was in April. And the fact that they set up his first trip on official visit day with these other studs, and he was really excited that he got to come in, and that they had so much respect for him that they brought him in with, he mentioned, with Brady, with Jameer, with Blake Wong, and they basically let him tag along with the official visitors. And that, kind of priority recruiting, he said it was a 10 out of 10 visit, and he got that one-on-one time with Ryan Day, which really made him feel like a top-tier priority. When you know, and there it is, man. The kid he's all Buckeye. He loves it. We look at Elijah Newman Hall, Tony, and I didn't even do one of these videos for Elijah Newman Hall because it was like, man, 20, it's like so far away. And now here we go. We're another year later. Newman Hall hasn't even visited anybody else. Totally locked in. And maybe it's just that there's a certain type of cat, like he's not interested in any of this other stuff. I don't know.
I think we are 30 months out from signing day for Austin Miller. So it's going to be a long time coming, but yeah, I mean, he locked in on Ohio State early and has stayed locked in. I say stayed, but this has been something that he's wanted. He got his offer, got his visit, and then it's all just like happening very quickly. And now Now the lengthy part of this all happens, and that's where you continue to build relationships, continue to solidify those relationships, and then you see kind of the proof being in the pudding as you watch Ohio State's wide receivers this year and next year, and then the year after that, so that he can solidify where he sees himself and where they see him. But you look at his freshman stats, and he caught 35 passes, 609 yards,
Impressive.
8 touchdowns.
Impressive.
But then he also ran the ball 85 times for 883 yards
Yeah.
with a long of 80. And you'll see him, like, he'll run some jet sweeps. It's almost kind of like a wing back at times, but he'll also run some wildcat. And this is wild, seeing somebody 6'5", 200 pounds running sweeps in between the tackles and doing all of these things. It's like a 6'5" Legend Bay almost.
It's pretty bizarre. It's not normal, certainly on a high school football field. Like, it's just not normal. And he's good at it. He's big and he's physical. And those, I mean, 10 yards a carry. This offensive stat pool is pretty tremendous. But defensively, another 35 tackles, 4 sacks, 4 pass breakups. He's playing everywhere. The kid is all over the place. He's just a football player. And gosh, do I love that when it comes to a kid this big, just getting his reps, man. He's just a football player. Monshon Sales is a safety. He's a heck of a safety. And, that's why I always really liked him. All right, that's a football player. He'll come and lay the wood. And Austin Miller is the same way. Really similar type of wide receiver. Sales is maybe a little bit more of a fluid mover. Austin Miller's a little bit more physical. And, I really think this dude's got a shot to be 1-1. He's a Buckeye. And something else, Tony, as you were talking about earlier, his dad, when we look at kids like this, right, you see sometimes they'll commit early, and then they'll get, the parents will get approached by agents, and then they'll reconsider and see what's out there. But this isn't a dad who doesn't know the deal. He doesn't, he's not a guy who doesn't, isn't familiar with the game, right? Like, he's involved. He's a former NFL scout. He's now coaching, isn't he?
Yeah, I believe he is. He's the head coach at Bellflower. So he's definitely involved and definitely okay with this decision and this decision-making process. And it's interesting because you could, let's see what comes, what happens, what else is out there. And you can still do that while you're committed. But it is interesting that Austin knows where he wants to be. His family seems to be okay with that. And now it'll be interesting to see how that process continues in terms of, well, this is the first step of becoming a Buckeye. What next steps are you taking? The development on your own time, the development from taking what Ohio State is telling you, and just implementing that as he gets on through his high school career. Because we're telling you all of these things that he's doing in high school with the 80 rushes, 10 yards a carry, and the 35 receptions. I don't think he had a catch in the last 3 games, probably because he was running the ball so much. He had 18 rushes in his last game as a freshman. You mentioned all the tackles for loss and the tackles and the sacks. This is a true freshman doing this. And I say true freshman. This is a high school freshman doing this on varsity in a big football state. And clearly there's some natural skill here. So what happens over the next few years when that natural skill continues to be developed and honed and kind of, I'm sure he's going to continue to do a bunch of things, but as that skill set continues to just get sharpened, I think it's going to be special to watch.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, sky's really the limit here. And I was watching some of the stuff out of pads, which I always like to see those routes out of pads in practice and that kind of deal. And my gosh, if he didn't look like JJ on a couple of these things, it was, I think when he gets, and there's so long to go, but college strength and conditioning, because he's already, this is just a physical freak. And we throw that word around a lot because there are so many more of them. It feels like every year there's just a couple more of these just alien type kids. This is without a doubt, the top 0.1% of freaky high school athletes. Without a doubt, he's going to come in when they do the rankings, a 5-star for sure. No doubt a top 3 wide receiver in the country for sure. But yeah, he just very well might be 1-1. If Jet Harrison's 1-1 because he's a savvy, skilled 6'2" wide receiver, this is the type of kid that if there's not a Jalen Brewster freak defensive tackle, positional value wise, they'll give it to him. or a crazy quarterback. This is going to be 1-1, and this is really exciting stuff here. I know it's far away, but I just look at the possibilities with this guy and the fact that he is so enamored by Ohio State, doesn't want to play the game, knows where he wants to go because he wants to be an NFL wide receiver, and that's where the track record is. And that's what it is, man. I love it.
You can see the lineage just continue from, you can go all the way back to like Terry McLaurin and Chris Olave, and it just continues on. And to have that foresight and understanding, like, this is what I want to do, and then to have the backing to go ahead and do it, I think it'll be interesting to watch, see what happens there, and see how he develops. And boy, if he is 1-1, and
I said
Jet Harris, and then Jet Harrison 1-1, David Jacobs, DJ Jacobs 1-1.
3 in a row, crazy.
Will it happen? That's up to the rankers and everybody's signing. But I will say, Jet Harrison looked as smooth as anything. Seeing him this past week at camp, because he was moving well. And just briefly on him, like I thought the first time I saw him, sure, and then he opens up the rankings as like 1-1, and I'm like, is this just a Marvin thing? And then you go and watch his 2025 season highlights, and you're like, oh no, this dude is a freak. This is Marvin Harrison, Garrett Wilson, Emeka Egbuka. You boil them all down and you put them in a mold, and then you get Jet Harrison. He's interesting.
Pretty absurd. Eye-hand coordination, body control. That's another one where it's like, it's a little different, man. I think Garrett, to me, was always the most impressive in that sense, and I think Jet does have a lot of that in him, but also does look a little bit like a Mecca to me as well. But yeah, man, he's so incredibly exciting. You'd have to say right now the Buckeyes are the favorite for that, for sure. So things looking good for Cortez Hankton being able to step in with this freshman class that's on campus now, with Jameer Brown already committed, with potentially Jet leading for Jet, with Austin Miller committed. Now he's just got to get his first commitment in this class right here, the class of 2027, as he's not yet gotten one of those yet.
Well, and Blake Wong finished up his official visit this past weekend, so maybe that will lead to something. But yeah, there's some concern about losing Brian Hartline and going to Cortez Hankton. They held on to a strong class. The future looks good. Now you just got to work on the present, and we'll see what happens this season with the existing wide receivers, because I think that is also an area that you'll need to watch. But that will do it. The newest commitment for the Buckeyes, 2029, Austin Miller. Real quick, Juck, who's going to be the second commitment of the 2029 class? Don't even bother. But if you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and hit that thumbs up. If you've not yet subscribed to the channel, Buckeye Insiders, please do so. If you're listening and want to find the channel, you can go to youtube.com/@Buckeye Insiders. That will do it from here. Thank you all for tuning in, and we will talk to you all later.